Have you ever prayed for clarity and God gave it to you, but you ignored it? You saw the signs, you heard the whispers, you felt it deep in your gut, but you stayed anyway. Let me tell you a story. There was a woman once. Let's call her you, because maybe in some way it is you. She met someone who made her feel alive again. He said the right words, made big promises, and at first it felt like answered prayer, like God had finally given her the love she'd waited for. But then came the red flags. Not all at once, not loud or dramatic. No, they came quietly, almost politely. A dismissive comment here, a forgotten promise there, a moment where she felt small but convinced herself she was overreacting. You know what's scary? It's not the red flags themselves. It's how easy it is to ignore them when you're afraid of being alone. When you want to be loved so badly, you convince yourself the storm isn't coming, even when you see the clouds. There's something we rarely admit, even to ourselves, something that sits quietly in the corners of our hearts, whispering when we'd rather not listen. The truth is, when God shows you red flags, it's not just a fleeting feeling or a passing thought. It's a gentle, persistent nudge, a sacred warning woven into the fabric of your spirit. And yet, how often do we try to explain them away? We bargain, we hope, we tell ourselves that maybe we're just overthinking. But those red flags, those quiet warnings, are not there to torment you. They are there to shield you, to guide you, to keep you from harm you cannot yet see. God doesn't reveal these signs because he wants to punish you, or because he wants to take away your happiness. He does it because he loves you far too much to let you walk blindly into pain. He is not trying to ruin your fairy tale or steal away your dreams. He is gently, lovingly, trying to protect the deepest parts of your heart. The journey from denial to acceptance is never easy. It's a path lined with questions, with longing, with the ache of letting go. But as you listen, as you trust, you'll find that God's warnings are not the end of your story. They are the beginning of your healing. He's not just saving you from a nightmare in disguise. He's leading you toward a peace and a love that is real, lasting, and true. Trust the red flags. Trust the one who sends them. Sometimes the truth doesn't arrive with a thunderclap or the sudden slam of a door. Instead, it drifts in quietly, like a gentle breeze at dawn, barely stirring the silence of your heart. In those still moments, when you're alone with your thoughts, you might hear it, a soft, unmistakable whisper. My daughter, this isn't it. It's not always loud or dramatic. Sometimes it's just a subtle nudge, a feeling deep inside that something isn't right. And in that quiet, God's voice becomes clear, guiding you gently toward the truth you need to see. Sometimes, when we come before God with our deepest questions, our hearts are already set on the answers we want to hear. We pray with hope, longing for a sign that matches our desires. And when the response is different, when it's a gentle warning or a red flag, we find ourselves resisting. We don't want to hear that, because that's not the answer we prayed for. It's hard to accept guidance that challenges our wishes, especially when we've invested so much hope and emotion. But in those moments, the struggle to listen becomes a test of faith and a chance to trust that God's wisdom is greater than our own. She stayed when he made her feel like she was too much and not enough at the same time. She stayed when her spirit started to dim. She stayed when she had to beg for the bare minimum and still got less. Because hope is blinding. And sometimes being with someone who doesn't love you well feels safer than starting over alone. But the longer she stayed, the louder God's voice got. And you know, it didn't sound like thunder. It sounded like exhaustion, like the ache in her chest that just wouldn't go away, like the smile she faked every single time she said, "We're fine." One day, she just stopped pretending. She looked at herself, not the version she tried to be for him, not the watered-down woman who tiptoed around someone else's comfort. She saw the girl who once prayed for real love, the one who deserved more than half-truths, broken promises, and emotional neglect. And she sat quietly by the window, the soft light casting gentle shadows across her face as she replayed recent conversations in her mind. Each uneasy moment, every subtle discomfort began to form a pattern she could no longer ignore. The red flags weren't just random signs or fleeting doubts. They were clear, unmistakable warnings sent from heaven itself. As she reflected, her heart grew heavy with the realization that God had been speaking to her all along, gently urging her to pay attention. This time, instead of brushing aside her intuition, she chose to listen deeply, allowing his guidance to lead her toward clarity and truth. Walking away didn't feel brave at first. Honestly, it felt terrifying. Because, no one really talks about the grief of leaving someone who's still alive, but never truly saw you. She cried. She doubted. She missed him, even the broken parts. But you know what she missed more? Herself. Sometimes healing looks like walking away shaking. Not because you're weak, but because you're finally letting go. Letting go of the fantasy. Letting go of the timeline. Letting go of the version of you that thought you had to settle just to feel loved. When God shows you the red flags, believe him. Even if your heart isn't ready. Even if you don't understand why. Even if it breaks you first. Because, what's on the other side of that obedience is peace. And peace isn't loud. It's quiet. It's sitting in your own silence and not feeling anxious. It's laughing again, for real this time. It's waking up without dread in your chest. It's feeling light, because the weight is finally gone. To the woman watching this who saw the signs but stayed anyway, you are not foolish, you were hopeful, but now you are wise, and you're allowed to choose better. The next time God shows you the red flags, don't wait for confirmation in the chaos. Don't wait for pain to be your proof. Believe him the first time. You don't have to understand it to be obedient. You don't have to feel ready to walk away. You just have to trust that when God removes something, he's making space for something sacred. So when he shows you the red flags, believe him, because he sees and hears what you can't, and he loves you too much to stay silent. You are not broken. You are becoming. Trust the process. And hey, subscribe, like, and share if this message found you right on time. Thanks for watching.